One night near the small Irish island of Arran, something resembling a flare appears in the black sky. The crew of the nearby fishing trawler Sea Harvester contacts the Coast Guard, but they deny any distress signals. Driven by curiosity, the sailors approach the place where the celestial object fell. One by one, they step onto the deck and disappear overboard. The next day, Officer Ciaran O'Shea wakes up with a brutal hangover just as a female police officer from Dublin, Lisa Nolan, arrives on the island. She likes the quiet, beautiful island where something terrible seems unlikely to happen. Ciaran picks her up in his car, and Lisa immediately notices the state of her new colleague. He drives her to their workplace. Meanwhile, Dr. Gleason discovers dead whales on the shore with terrible wounds on their bodies. Lisa meets her new colleagues, though Ciaran is surprised by her arrival. However, orders are orders. Meanwhile, fisherman Paddy Barrett finds a strange creature with blue tentacles in his lobster trap, which spits a foul-smelling liquid at Paddy's partner Murphy. The fishermen are puzzled, having never seen such a creature before. At the same time, the police head to the shore, summoned by Dr. Gleason. There, they are met by marine ecologist Adam Smith. He explains that sea creatures sometimes wash ashore, but the wounds on their bodies were inflicted at sea, not by striking rocks. Paddy brings the captured creature home and puts it in the bathtub. Ciaran organizes the transport of the whale carcass to the lab so Smith can study it. As the workers are preparing to leave the beach, one of them spots a strange round object in the sand, resembling an egg of an unknown creature. He digs it up and is immediately attacked by an unknown being, which drags him into the sea. The workers' boss eventually goes to look for him, but finds nothing. Meanwhile, Ciaran and Paddy meet at a bar in the local hotel, listening to the news about the disappearance of a fishing schooner crew the previous night. Paddy tells the police officer about the sea monster he caught in the morning, but Ciaran doesn't believe him and heads home. At that time, Murphy hears a knock at the door and goes to check who it might be so late at night. Behind the door is fisherman Cooney, acting strangely, as if inviting him to dance. Murphy steps outside and is immediately dragged onto the roof of the house. Murphy's wife tries to hide in the house, but before she can secure the chimney, something pulls her up through it. Meanwhile, Ciaran knocks on Lisa's door. The girl realizes he is outrageously drunk and suggests he finishes the night at home. She finds it odd that he drinks every day while he doesn't understand how one can abstain completely. Hearing her say it's time for him to go to bed, Ciaran passes out. Meanwhile, Paddy returns home, enters the bathroom, and instead of the captured creature, finds an egg. He looks around and finds stinky slime on the wall. Suddenly, tentacles from an unknown creature descend from the ceiling. One of them grabs Paddy, and then the monster attacks him, but the fisherman manages to tear off the suckers and stomp the creature to death. In the morning, the hotel owner advises Lisa to pay attention to Ciaran. The man is a widower who can't forget his wife, which is why he drinks, but Lisa might have a chance to set him straight. The girl heads to the station where she had left Ciaran the previous night, as she didn't know his address and couldn't escort him home. At that moment, a call comes in from Paddy, who intends to claim a reward for the monster he killed, which he brought to Smith's lab in the morning. The fisherman calls it a grabber, though the scientist objects to such a name, as it should reflect the animal species. He has no idea what it is, having never seen such a creature, and he's not even sure it's dead. Smith demonstrates the creature's tongue, which shoots out like a frog's and is covered in holes through which it sucks blood, similar to rare deep-sea vampire squids. But this creature gives the impression of being alien. Smith shows how its skin glows when the slime is wiped away and claims that the organism needs blood and water to survive. Paddy immediately asks if this marvel can be sold on eBay, but Smith forbids him from even thinking about it. This specimen turned out to be a pregnant female, as evidenced by the egg. Later, Ciaran suggests that the creature might be related to the whale's deaths, but Lisa doubts it, as the creature is much smaller than the dead animals. Sometime later, Ciaran and Lisa find Cooney's car near Murphy's house, where they see strange debris on the roof. Lisa climbs up and finds scraps of the dress worn by the woman who died the previous night. She pulls on them, and a round object flies out of the chimney, landing directly on Ciaran's head. He screams in pain but falls silent when he sees that it's Murphy's head lying before him. The doctor, to whom the police bring the gruesome find, can't even begin to guess who could have done such a thing. Their conversation is interrupted by Paddy's arrival, who takes the police home and shows them the broken wall of his house and the bathtub lying on the lawn. Ciaran spreads out a map marking the locations where incidents have occurred. They are all located in the same bay, suggesting a male creature lives there. Paddy recalls the black rocks where there is a cave, and the team sets off there. Kieran and Lisa enter the cave and soon find a fishing vest, while Patty discovers several eggs in the sand, ready to hatch. Inside the cave, Kieran shouts, scaring the girl. Suddenly, a huge alien squid appears before them. The police run, grabbing Patty along the way. Later, they try to call for help, but they are only taken seriously when Lisa confirms the danger. They rush to the lab, where Smith has concluded that the whales were food for these creatures. Kieran pours a flammable mixture over the female's remains, convinced the male will come for her. He sets the body on fire, but the sprinkler system immediately activates, extinguishing the flames. The temperature change revives the dead female. Smith arms himself with a chair, Lisa with a knife, and Kieran with a rolled-up magazine. Nevertheless, they are unprepared for the attack. The alien squid wraps its tentacles around Kieran's head, but Smith and Lisa tear the creature away, and it suddenly spits out human blood and collapses dead. The group finishes it off, though Smith laments the lost opportunity for a great discovery. Lisa suddenly wonders what the newborn creatures will eat if the whales around the island have run out. At that moment, Patty returns to the lab, and everyone marvels at how he managed to survive the monster. He mentions his diet, but Kieran suddenly realizes that Patty was drunk. The creatures feed on blood, and it seems that alcohol causes an allergic reaction in them, so the people only need to survive one night on the island. Help will arrive tomorrow, and the creatures will be destroyed with some kind of bomb. Kieran suggests gathering everyone in the bar and throwing a massive drinking party. They tell the bar owner Brian everything and show him a piece of the creature. Although he doesn't fully believe in the threat, he agrees. Lisa is horrified, as she has never drunk alcohol, but Kieran offers to stay sober that night, as only he can keep things under control. Later, Lisa takes a dose and immediately starts mocking her friends. After drinking Patty's homemade brew, she gets properly drunk. The doctor takes her blood, and the group uses it to feed a newborn creature, which dies almost immediately. The group concludes that the drink must be strong to be effective. The police rush to the church, where the island's residents have gathered. Kieran invites everyone to a party in Lisa's honor, and they eagerly head to the bar. While the Islanders party, Kieran and his team count the available weapons, which include a nail gun, a toy gun without bullets, a flare gun, and a water gun, which Brian plans to fill with gasoline to turn it into a flamethrower. Later, the bartender returns to his duties, serving drinks to everyone. The Islanders are having a great time, while Lisa and Kieran sit in the car, keeping an eye on the surroundings as the rain pours down. Tipsy, Lisa admits that she likes Kieran, but he isn't used to accepting confessions sober and asks to postpone the conversation until morning. Meanwhile, the doctor steps outside. Kieran laughs at stories about his deceased wife. She just left him, so there's no tragedy. Meanwhile, the doctor sees the beach is covered with small creatures. One of them latches onto his face. The man screams, which Kieran and Lisa hear, and they come to his aid. While Lisa throws the creatures around, Kieran frees the doctor, but then a giant male alien appears from behind the house and devours the doctor. Kieran and Lisa hide in the car, but the squid grabs it and tries to shake them out. Suddenly, the police siren goes off. The creature lets go of the car, and Brian opens the doors to see what's happening. Kieran and Lisa manage to jump into the building. Brian asks Smith to light the candle on the gun filled with gasoline, and Smith struggles to do so. The man runs outside, intending to set the monster on fire, but the candle goes out in the rain. Kieran barely manages to save Brian. At this point, Brian remembers they need to change the barrels, or the alcohol will run out. As people begin to head home, Kieran tries to stop them. Brian blames Patty, saying he brought these creatures to the island. A fight breaks out, during which a drunk Smith steps outside to photograph the monster. The creature feels the scientist with its tentacles and throws him far away. Kieran orders everyone to run upstairs. The group watches as the monster smashes the wall and tries to escape as the baby creatures jump into the bar. Kieran manages to lock the stairwell doors, but now he has to confess everything. Then the male creature begins to pound on the door. Patty reminds them that the female marked Kieran, so the monster clearly wants to mate with the man. The group tries to figure out how to deal with the situation, but they have no weapons and don't know how to handle the monster. Lisa recalls the loader. If they can trap the creature and prevent it from returning to the sea, it will surely die. But they can only reach the construction site with a pickup truck, and the keys are downstairs. Kieran can't get past the monster, so Lisa volunteers to do it. They give her the nail gun, and the completely tipsy girl heads downstairs, where the baby creatures are frolicking. She takes care of a couple of them before finding a bottle of alcohol and then the truck keys. But then the alien's tentacles burst through the door. Lisa lights a match, runs, and falls, setting the bar on fire just as the monster drags her outside. However, Lisa fights back and escapes. The group smells smoke, and Kieran climbs out the window as the monster reaches the roof. The police officer sees the pickup truck, driven by Lisa. He jumps into the bed of the truck, and they head to the port, with the creature in pursuit. They reach the construction site, where Kieran lures the monster to a pit where barrels of fuel are stored and readies the flare gun. But the creature drags the man into the pit. Then Lisa appears in the loader. However, she loses control of the machine, and it falls on the monster, pinning it down. Just as the pair is about to celebrate their victory, a tentacle wraps around Kieran. The creature is about to devour him, opening its mouth, but Kieran pours alcohol from his bottle into it. The monster tosses him aside, and Lisa shoots it with the flare gun. The creature explodes and burns up. In the morning, the islanders wake up, regretting that such a fun night has come to an end. Kieran throws away his flask and kisses Lisa. Meanwhile, a baby alien squid is preparing to hatch from its egg on the shore. An excellent indie comedy, unexpectedly heartfelt, funny and charming, with great performances, witty jokes, and a surprising romantic subplot,